I assume that all of you are preparing for the prelims this year, but as mains is the most important hurdle, you will have to prepare for it simultaneously. I do not think any of you have this misconception that you can prepare for prelims and then think about mains when you qualify it. So please do not remain in that misconception. You have to work on it simultaneously, concurrently. So we are going to devote the next two sessions on the strategies of the main and especially on the answer writing skills. We have Annapurna here. She is a psychology master's and she has got the 69th, I guess. 68th rank this year, and she's taken a lot of trouble to actually come up with a presentation to show you how to really prepare for answer writing. And afterwards, we will have just Meet also talking about similar things and about the essay, I suppose. So without wasting much of your time, Annapurna, you can join us. So you would like to connect it first.
Yeah, a very good afternoon to all of you. I thank Vision IS for giving me this platform to discuss my answer writing strategy with you all. Answer writing is the core of mains. It is the make or break game. In my 2014 attempt, I went without practicing answers and I failed. I was short of 28 marks. So I would suggest you all to focus on this area to a very great extent. The first thing which you have to focus here is to start practicing answer, because this is half the battle won. Most of us are reluctant. How many of you are practicing answer writing right now? Yeah, very few of you. So there is a problem that we fear that we'll underperform in our answers. This happened with me, this happens with most of us. So we don't do it. There is an anxiety. We escape answer writing and we escape the anxiety, which leads a conditioned response. So we don't do it. So best way to break it is to do what you fear the most. It's a psychological concept. So start answer writing. Even if you underperform, there is no harm. You will not write good answers in the beginning, but after 10-15 days you will start performing better, definitely. People from humanities background, they are good at writing. So they think that I'll do it in the exam. This has to be broken. This habit has to be broken. Everyone has to practice, because civil services mains examination requires a very different approach of answer writing. Daily answer writing practice gives you an edge over others. So you can practice 2 to 3 answers daily. That is enough. You'll have to spend around 2 to 2.5 hours. Make sure whatever answer you are writing, you are getting a feedback on it. So test series is the best way. Test series gives you a very good feedback and you can improvise on the same. But there are other ways as well. There are online platforms available on which you can write answers. You get peer reviews. You get reviews from the online organization as well, and it is a very motivating factor for a candidate. Moreover, daily answer writing gives you a good question answer bank. Maintain a separate register for the same, so in a very organized manner, so that you can revise it later on. What I used to do was I used different pens. The answer in which I was not confident, I marked it with a red pen, red star. You can devise your own strategy for that. So at the end, you can revise those answers and you can skip others which you are very confident about. And it's always good if you practice with a stopwatch, because time management in the mains actual exam is what gives you an edge, is what it can give you a selection, and others may left behind. So try completing an answer in about 8 minutes, not more than 8 minutes. Initially you'll take around 15-20 minutes, maybe half an hour, doesn't matter, but eventually you'll reduce it to further and further. What we write initially may not be perfect, not even initially, later on also. So it's always good to improvise your answers. How to improvise it is to read others' answers. As I said, online platforms are there. You can read the same issue on different sources. The Hindu, Live Mint, there is Indian Express, whatever sources you are comfortable at. You can read from those sources and you can jot 2-3 important points. Not the entire editorial or entire news, but the very important points which are important for that particular answer. So it's important to jot down those points again with a different colored pen so that it becomes easy for revision. Feedback, I said, feedback is very important, because without feedback you are totally directionless. Without feedback you won't understand in what direction are you moving. So feedback is very important. People also do group discussions for the feedback thing only, so you can do that as well. 4 or 5 people can form a group and you can go ahead. These are some of the myths and facts. Some people are very good in good grammar, good vocabulary. It's not at all important to write very flowery language in your mains examination. You just have to be very clear in your concepts. What you are writing should be clear to the examiner. Flowery language would not give you an edge, definitely not. It may frustrate the examiner, because the examiners may not be very good in English language. They are professors or people from general thing only. And some people underline with different colored pens. I personally believe it wastes your time, but it can be your personal viewpoint as well. I did not do so. I underlined with the same blue colored pen, but underlining is very important. Do underline the very important aspects in your answer, but you can do it with the same colored pen. While preparing for mains, most of us are referring to the Hindu, but I would suggest you to have an additional source. This is because the Hindu everyone is reading, so you should have some extra different points from others. Explained section of Indian Express, I personally like it a lot. You can read it. Editorials of Live Mint, editorials of Indian Express. So have an additional source other than the Hindu. Yeah, this point is very important. Completing the paper. Don't think that you are doing 13-14 very quality answers and you will get marks. You will get marks in those 13-14, but rest you will get 0. So the remaining 5-6 which we are not confident about, write at least something. Even if you are like 10-20% sure, 10-20% confident about it, write that only. It will fetch you 1 to 1.5 marks, and it can give you a difference in your rank. So do complete the paper. At least do 19 questions out of 20. Don't leave the questions entirely. Yeah, these are the key ingredients which I think UPSC looks for in an answer. Understanding of the question. So reading the question is very carefully is very important. There are different components in a question. These days the breakups are 2 to 3 breakups are definitely there in a question. Next is understanding of the issue. For this, issue based study is very important. Issue based study is, for example, smart city concept. So don't study smart city exclusively. Study in it in a holistic manner with the challenges that urban local bodies are facing, with the challenges that transport is facing. So not only smart city concept, but take a 360-degree perspective of it. So issue based study is important for mains answer. Analytical skills, definitely, because critically analyze, critically examine, all these are analytical based skills. For this, again, 360-degree perspective while you are reading editorials is the key aspect in analytical skills. Ability to form opinions. You should have your own opinion, definitely, which will reflect in the mains examination, but the opinion has to be a very balanced one, not tilted in an extreme side. Next is clarity of thoughts. Confusion has no place in mains answer, because that confusion in your thoughts definitely reflects in your answer. So thoughts wise, you should be very clear about the issues. Now, how I wrote answer was in 3 major parts: introduction, the main body, and the conclusion. Introduction should be very brief, because you ultimately have only 200 words. introduction should be such that it gives examiner a feel that you have understood the question, but it should not be a repetition of the question itself. It should be very brief, 2 to 3 lines only. Then is the main body, that is the actual part which gives you marks. It gives you the major chunk of the marks. It should be to the point, very precise, hitting the bullseye. Any diversion, there should be no diversion from the question asked. It leads to low marks and you will waste your time in any diversion. Lastly, conclusion should be a very optimistic one and it should have a suggestive tone. You should not conclude in a pessimistic manner, because a civil servant is a person who looks for solutions. Problems are always there, but there are solutions to the problems. I will show you some examples here. Yeah. The question says the smart cities project is faced with multiple challenges and ambiguities in terms of its financial model, governance and scale. Critically examine. So I have given here a brief introduction of the smart cities project, very brief introduction, and then the 3 points, I have stick to these 3 points only, not diverting, not taking any other point. Point by point, one, and critically examine is here, so I have given positives and negatives in each one of them. So this is what I mean by precision in your answer. This is not the UPSC actual answer, this is one from my practice notebooks. And this is the conclusion of this. Smart city project thus has these challenges in front of it. This can be overcome by strengthening the urban local bodies by giving them greater financial powers, timely appraisal of the project implementation, efficient implementation of financial mechanisms such as REITs, municipal bonds. By filling these gaps, dream of clean, green and prosperous cities would be realized. So you have seen the conclusion has suggestions as well as it ends on an optimistic note. So what I was saying, I meant by this. Yeah, so next are some considerations for the main body, which is the actual content. A balanced approach is required. So extreme viewpoints should be avoided. Next is 360-degree perspective, as I told you earlier while reading newspaper. Having a 360-degree perspective of the issue is important. A strict no to the names of political persons and parties, this is well known. I personally preferred point format in all my answers, most of the answers, not all, because point format saves time and it helps to cover more and more dimensions. Giving the names of current government schemes gives answer more relevance in present context. Like in this I gave about municipal bonds and REITs. So having at the back of your mind current schemes which are going on in the context of the question gives you a slightly different answer from others, because not all people do this. Mentioning articles of the constitution, years, figures, all the statistical numbers only if you are very confident, especially articles of the constitution, you cannot go wrong there. So do mention them, but only if you are very sure about them. Next is the presentation skills. Apart from the content what you are writing, presentation matters a lot, because examiner is also a human being and he'll like it if it is coming across as a very neatly written and it's very visible. Visibility of different parts of the answer. I'll show you one more example. The question is about Shanta Kumar committee. What are the recommendations of Shanta Kumar committee? Do you think the replacement of PDS with DBT will bring positive change? Don't look at the content of it, I am just showing it for the visibility part. This is the first portion, and second portion I will show you. This is how I think visibility is shown. I have seen some answers which are very messed up. The different parts are clubbed together, which is to be avoided because different parts have their own weightage, and if the examiner can see different parts in differently, he will be intended to give you more marks. And underlining, you can see here, underlining is important. A proper alignment, the answer should go straight with the margins. Drawing figures or maps definitely gives you an edge over others, eases the job of the examiner and gives you more marks. So wherever you feel that figures can be drawn or map can be drawn, you should do it. So you should practice map drawing and figures, especially in geography answers, and cuttings have to be avoided at any cost. This is it. I'll also talk about notes making, because I made notes slightly differently. I made all of my notes in a soft copy. So I would suggest you, if you can, make soft notes. It has several advantages. One is you can update them as and when new things come in the editorials or in the newspapers. Secondly, it helps in revision a lot, because you can use the search button and it helps you to quickly revise the things. For example, the smart city thing is here. So this is from different sources, which I kept on updating as and when I came across different editorials or different newspaper cuttings. And here, see, like challenges, following are some of the challenges that may confront the realization of smart cities. This you cannot do in the hard notes. So hard notes become very messed up. So I like this idea, and I think this helped me a lot in revision and in completing the issue based study which I was talking. So it covers a whole lot of things in an easy manner, and we must use technology when we have its availability with us. Next is Belt and Road project. So likewise, I have covered many topics here. Similarly, I have brought only these two. Here I had culture notes as well. When any question came to my mind, I jotted it down and I framed its answer in a soft copy only. And I highlighted those things that were my weak areas. Like I'll show you here. This thing. This I thought maybe I won't retain, so I reddened it. So you can use this strategy, it helps a lot. So this is the way I made my notes. Any question you have? That's it from my side. These are from different online platforms like IS Baba, Insights. I think these are two in the market right now. Psychology. Yeah. You have to give introduction, you have to give conclusion, and in between you have body. Because you cannot skip introduction altogether. You have to at least one line and conclusion also. It gives a good impression on the examiner But if you are very short of time in the exam, if suppose only 3-4 minutes are left and you have to do one question, then you can skip also. It's not a hard and fast rule, but you should maintain this habit of writing introduction and of writing conclusion in every answer.
And sources for paper 2 psychology applied for.
Smarak Swen. It is comprehensive. I did only that.
And in the answer writing part, when you are writing points, so were you using phrases or complete sentences?
Complete sentences.
Not phrases.
No.
And strategy for GS2?
GS2, strategy. Extensive newspaper reading and practicing answers. It's not different from other papers. It's the same. We'll have a dedicated question answer round after. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for patient hearing.